Hello and welcome to my very first YouTube video. My name is Pam, I'm a veteran player on Project Ascension. I've been playing on this server since basically Season 2. I started with playing PvP only, high risk PvP, this is what I came for on this server. But in the recent years I've been mostly doing PvE content, and this is what I'm gonna show off on this channel. My goal is always to figure out new builds, try to make them work for Ascended rating and high Mythic Plus content. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but I want to take you along with me on this journey, figuring out new and cool builds. This one is just a short compilation of my league start impressions, showing off what I've been up to there. So let's jump right into it. As you can see, the start was absolutely crazy. There were massive amounts of people there. I thought the stress test was overloaded, but this I didn't expect. And I'm happy for Ascension that the server is blooming like that. It's ridiculous. And there was no lag, no crashes, I think, or at least just not many crashes. And yeah, it was pretty cool to see that many people in one place, but it also meant that it was kinda struggle to quest with so many people. So for starting abilities I went really basic. I went with Brilliance Aura and Frostbolt just to have damage, Brilliance Aura to recover some mana, and I went with Imp for an additional source of damage, which is good for leveling, and Charge. I was thinking maybe taking Mana Forge Barrier and then tanking in dungeons, so the Charge would be handy there. But overall, it's just a mobility spell to get around a little bit faster. So you can see me here starting the quest. I didn't actually have any specific build in mind to do. I just wanted to get through the leveling as fast and easy as possible. Didn't do any challenges yet. I'm planning to do that later on. For now, I'm just blasting through, trying to get to max level as fast as I can. And you can see here, it was actually quite a struggle. I cut out quite a bit of it, but just getting the first few mobs, tagging them and getting the credit for them was actually quite difficult with all these other players around. But eventually I went through it. I did a few quests, actually as much quests in the starting zone as I could. But then I decided, yeah, there's so many people here, you can't really quest here. It was even worse in Goldshire, so the second city. So I decided I will go to the dwarf starting area, because I was thinking there was gonna be less people, so it's easier to quest there. And yeah, it was true. There was less people in the dwarf starting zone than in the human starting zone here. But there were also less mobs. I don't know why, but the respawn was slower there. So it didn't actually make a big difference. I spent a lot of time walking around just looking for quest mobs. It was a really slow start, which was okay, but just yeah, it was slow for the wrong reasons. I think if the respawns of the mobs was just as fast in the 12 starting zones as here, then it would have been fine. As soon as I hit 15, I decided to jump straight into dungeons. The questing was not gonna go very well. Everybody was fighting for the same mobs, so I decided, yeah, let's just do dungeons, see how fast it goes. And I just picked up Arcane Explosions. Since I'm not doing the new build draft feature, I can't really go for a specific build at this point, since I don't have enchants, I don't have gear or anything. So I just took Arcane Explosion. I knew that was gonna do a lot of AoE damage and I can't just carry a group like that. And yeah, we went through Dead Mines. It was actually a breeze, not very difficult. It was, I think, my second dungeon that I did. But there's a specific reason why I wanted to show off this run. Because yeah, the first half of the dungeon went pretty smoothly, like expected. But then we came to this place here, which is the Engineers. Down there with this boss, with the engineer boss, and for some reason we actually died there. So I didn't really pay attention, because yeah, why would I at this point? We just pulled, normally we just pulled a bunch of mobs and it was fine. We were taking a lot of damage, but nothing crazy. I didn't really pay attention. Now here we do a little bit bigger of a pull, but actually not that big. For Ascension at least, we just pulled 5 mobs, but then suddenly we all died. Like within a few seconds we're all dead, and the tank is calling it out here. that these mobs actually give a debuff that does a lot of damage. So that was the point where I realized, oh, they actually reworked the classic dungeons. I probably didn't read in the patch notes and wasn't aware of it, but that is the first time going through dungeons that I actually realized they did a lot of changes to them. And specifically these engineers here, they put a debuff on you that takes 4 damage and it can stack up on itself, which can lead to very fast deaths, as you can see. And same goes for the boss here. The boss does the same debuff, it stacks with other debuffs, so we are already taking a lot of damage here, even though we have just, I think it's 3 mobs and the mobs that they are spawning. But our whole group has a debuff on them, and the healer just couldn't keep up. And he also, of course, doesn't have a dispel at such a low level, and we just all die again. I think they can manage. I think they managed to kill the boss there, but it's crazy. And at this point, I realized I have to actually pay attention to what the mobs are doing in classic dungeons, because it seems way more difficult. Yeah, we still went ahead and finished the dungeon. That was the only surprise, I think, in this dungeon. There were other stuff, for example, in Veiling Caverns, the mobs were fearing all of a sudden. So it was really interesting to see the classic dungeon shaking up a little bit. Here I want to just show off the build that I've been using for leveling. It's nothing special, it's just a typical prestige arcane explosion build that people have been using for ages now. So it's just around damage and crit for arcane explosion. The only cool new addition that I added this league now is a bunch of new AoE spells, and that namely being Frozen Orb, which I thought was gonna share a cooldown with Arcane Orb, but it doesn't, which is really cool. And then of course Meteor, which looks really nice. It's a really chunky AoE spell, so I'm totally happy about this one. And I picked up Fade, just to not have as much threat problems in dungeons anymore, which was actually pretty crucial. So overall, I'm really stoked about the league start. I just love having a fresh economy, making a new character and gearing it up, discovering new builds alongside the way. I'm all there for it, it's really cool. And I also like the new additions that came this league, like for example the build draft system and also the trials. I hope that they make their way to the seasonal server, because this could shake up the prestiging a little bit, just adding more options that you can prestige. And of course I like the new skills, just adding a lot more spells means more variety, more options for all the builds. I am really digging that. But the best thing for me is definitely the rework of the low level dungeons and their inclusion to the max level dungeon pool. I think just having more dungeons is nice, but also adding some more difficulty to these old dungeons. That is really nice. With the next video I'm gonna show off my actual first PvE build for this league. I'm not gonna spoil what it's gonna be right now, but I have some things in mind. So look forward to this one, and until then, thank you for watching this video, and goodbye.